Excuse me, class. Class, welcome back to English 1301. It's Mr. Welsh coming to you here at El Paso Community College. In class, we want to talk a little bit about the days ahead, about where we are, about how I'm going to help you, about what's expected of you. So, now, class, if we go, first of all, let's get a recap from our course policies and calendar about where we are once again and who we are the last time. And for all four of my English 1301 classes, we are on page 2 of the course policies and calendar. It always helps once again to print these out if you can, or have access to them all the time, because this is continuing to guide us through the semester. Now, last time what we did is we talked certainly about your homework. You had a homework assignment where I wanted you once again to shake down your memories and to talk about possibilities for the writing the memoir essay. So we did that last time. Okay. We went over the homework class once again. We had some discussion about the great, once again, Gary Soto essay, Black Hair. And we talked about throwing snowballs. Those are both examples of memoirs of what you're doing for me. Now, what you're going to do for me. Also, last time we talked about the drop date. Okay. And then we went into, once again, the homework assignment. And for homework, once again, what I wanted you to do was, in regards to homework, it said, read about a writing from recall essay, which we took about at least half hour discussing. Respond to several of the invention questions on 171 to 172. Do this for 2 important events in your life. Once again, be sure to write about the significance of each of these events. And in class, we'll discuss this and the selection, once again, for topics for this essay. So that is what we are going to do today. Now, yesterday, or the day before, I sent, once again, the final handout for the memoir writing from recall essay. And also I sent you memos that talks about where we are. Let's look at these. I've attached the final handout for your memoir writing from recall essay. This whole handout corresponds with the work assigned on the syllabus. Please note that the due date for, if you're in class 11850 and 12176, is September 18th. So that is, today's the 10th. We'll get this posted today. That's still 8 days before this assignment is due. Please do not turn in any work before then. Okay. So don't be sending me your homework. I don't need to see it. Once again, keep all that stuff for yourself. I'll tell you exactly what you're going to need to turn in when it's time for those portfolios. We'll take it one step at a time. There'll be, once again, no surprises. So, for sections 11850 and 12176, those are 2 of my classes, is September 18th. Okay. And it says here, I'll post a lecture tomorrow, which is today, that goes over your homework. So I'm doing that today. The same thing for my classes 12175 and 11816. The only thing, that essay, the classes we just talked about, is Friday, September 18th. Those other 2 classes, because of it being Tuesday, Thursday, and a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, if we were meeting in class, for those classes, the due date is, once again, September 22nd. So all this, once again, is on your course policies and calendar. That's when once again, your portfolio will be due for your profile essay. Once again, for classes section 12175 and 11816, September 22nd, 11850 and 12176, September 18th. So still plenty of time to be working on this, once again, project. So you're starting to think about, with the homework you did, about what you want to write about. Remember, think strategically on how you're going to do this. And I'm going to lecture about these things today. Think about Annie Dillard's essay. Think about Gary Soto's essay. Once again, that's what you're going to do for me. So let me help you today, class. I'm going to be lecturing out of some my own notes throughout the years that I've had in regards to a writing from recall essay. So the major challenges that a writer confronts when they write from recall is, once again, focus. How are you going to focus your essay? When I write from recall, there goes my son there. That's Patrick Brett Welsh. Very good, Patrick. Just outside playing some basketball. When you go to write about writing from recall, how do you focus? When I write an essay about writing from recall, how do I focus? So we're all the same. Okay. When writers write about a familiar, often very powerful personal experience, writers often have difficulty making objective decisions about the most effective method of presenting that experience to the reader. So right there, it tells us, class, that what I want you to be writing about for me is something powerful, a powerful personal experience. And my job as a professor today is to give you a bunch of examples and techniques on how to knock these out. Remember, when it is done, 700 to 1,000 words. We'll talk more about that. Now, on the one hand, it is tempting to include every detail that comes to your mind. On the other hand, because the experience is so familiar, a writer might overlook details that would make the story's relevance clear to the reader. Writers may also find it difficult to decide what details to include in their memoir, where to begin their memoir, their narrative, what order to use in recount events, and once again, how to conclude their essays. Now, one of the ways, once again, that you do this is by getting started, all right? Getting into it, hitting it and quitting it, hitting it and quitting it on the essay class. How do we get in and out in 700 words? We're not there yet, but I'm here to help you with that today. Class, once again, if you're not certain about what purpose is in your writing about a particular event, what you want to show readers, so you have to be asking yourself, what event do I want to capture in my life? What do I want to show my readers? What do I want my readers to get out of it? What do I want to know in the end to let the readers know what I learned? 700 to 1,000 words. If you're not sure how you're going to do it about the experience, your narrative is likely to read like a laundry list of details with no clear connections between events and no main idea. To focus your idea for a personal narrative, begin by free writing and brainstorming, okay? So that's what you did, class, over the weekend with that homework. You started thinking. What I was trying to get you to do is shake down your memory trees. What do you want to write about? Okay? What do you want to write about? By the end of class today, you're going to know what you're going to write about because you have to decide at the end of class, because then you're going to start drafting. We're not there yet. What do you want to write about? Okay? At the end of class today. But we're not there yet. So it says to free write and brainstorm. So when you free write, class, and a lot of times what I like to do is old school is you may be thinking about what you want to write about possibly, and you pick up a pen. and some paper. It doesn't have to be, once again, a fancy fountain pen or anything like that, but whatever pen you have and some paper, once again, get the paper out, get the pen out, start thinking loosely about, like within that homework, what I want to write my memoir about. And then class, you write. And free writing and brainstorming is when you write fast with paper, with paper, with paper. Let's see, did I bring one of my many journals here? Hold on, class. Let me grab my journal because I always have one going. And I'll show you about free writing. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. All right. So class, free writing. Free writing is when you brainstorm. You just think about what you want to write about, and then you do it. And you don't be thinking about, I'm not good enough. I may not be making the right choices. Do I need a comma here? Do I need a period here? Is this a run on sentence? All that will be dealt with by the time you turn in the final draft. In brainstorming class and in free writing, you're free to write. And you want to get down just words as fast as possible. In class, if, like I said before, if you're going to write, I'm going to write. And I've been doing this, once again, pretty much every day for 35 years because I'm a writer. Okay, I'm just not a professor, but I'm a writer. And writers write, and writers practice, and writers make mistakes, and writers have to write poorly, which I do. And then writers improve. All right, college level writing is what we're looking for here. And the Writing Center, which we're going to talk about, help you with that. So once again, free writing, throwing it down, throwing it down, throwing it down, throwing it down. Class, I have hundreds of these journals. Throwing it down doesn't make any difference. You may not, don't need to have fancy colored ink. Throwing it down, 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 throwing it down. Trying to get those words on the page. Okay, trying to get those words on the page. And class, I find out that students over the years who have kept journals, and I didn't always when I was a young man or a woman, but students who have kept journals, once again, gives you a chance to work on your writing. But right here, we're just trying to get it down because we're trying to get out of the head and into the heart. The head and into the heart. What do I mean by that? Sometimes, class, our heads can trick us. I'm going to talk about mine in general. So sometimes when I go to write over the years, things will come up like voices, and it'll be something like, oh, you're not very good, or you've never been very good, or your mother didn't go to high school, or your father was a bus driver and didn't go to college, or you grew up in the ghetto, or you're from South Central Los Angeles, or you're the only white boy in the neighborhood, or you had to go through the gang wars, or you had to fight on the streets constantly, or so all those things can go around a person's head. Or for sometimes some of my students, well, my English isn't very good. Okay, your English isn't very good. Well, students ever tell me that, my question always is, what are you going to do about it? Okay, this is college level writing. Okay, how hard are you going to work? How hard are you going to work? I've been working my ass off for 35 years within the English language. I'm also trying to improve my Spanish, which I love. The only way my Spanish is going to get better is always working it, working it, working it, reading, listening to the radio, listening to TV, listening to other people speak, listening to rap in Spanish, listening to the radio stations, listening to La Porosa, listening to, Orbita on 106.7 on the FM dial, listening to, once again, Telemundo. But I'm an English professor, so once again, class, getting it down, getting it down, getting it down. It's once again up to you. What are you going to do, class? Which also brings up the point, class, when you send me an email, once again, to me about anything, if you ever do on a Blackboard, class, make sure that the email you send me is grammatically correct and the sentence structure is correct. And you're not just giving me some stream of text that you want on a phone. Remember, when you send me an email through the college, you're putting your best foot forward. So take your time. Already this semester, I've seen some emails. I'm like, there's not even first grade writing in there or first grade grammar. How's that supposed to make me feel as an English professor? Once again, college level writing. Clean it up. Just don't send stuff out. Look at every sentence. Once again, class, but in the beginning, how do we get it down? How do we get it down? How do we free write? Once again, class, how do we free write? How do we stay in the process? Once again, how do we stay in the process? You don't have to have fancy color inks like me. That's just a journal that I just completed. Once again, give yourself permission to write. Give yourself permission to get, so try and write fast. Try and, once again, get things down as fast as you can. Class, as fast as you can. Let's get out another pen here. Another pen, class. Once again, as fast as you can. Fast, fast, fast. Trying to get things down. And when you free write, I guarantee you, you will go back. If you have kept things fast, you'll have some things that will come out of the heart. And you'll say, did I write that? And the answer is yes, you did. Where does it come from? I don't know. We're trying to get out of the heart, head, and into the heart. Because when you're writing from the heart, you can't be, once again, you can't lose. So class, do that. What am I going to write about? How am I going to start this essay? Once again, let me put these together. I may get out another pen in a minute, class. Got a couple of nice, these are the tools of the trade. What's the trade? The trade is writing. Whether you're Mr. Welsh or English 1301, I'm no different than you. I'm a student. I'm writing. I'm trying to improve. Class, writing is like going to the gym. El Paso is a boxing town. Okay, there's a lot of good boxers in here. So how do we get good at boxing? We have to train. We have to train, class. Let me show you. Got to train. Got to hook. We got to, once again, uppercut. Once again, we got to train. We got to hook. We got to uppercut. We got to hit. We got to get back. We got to dance. We got to train, class. Got to work out. We got to get knocked out. We got to get back up. We got to train, class. The jab, the hook. Same as writer, same thing. We got to work out. Tired me out a little bit, class. And once again, you got to spend time, give your time to the process. So, that's what you did for homework. What am I going to write about? You may find that the minute you are asked to write about a significant experience in your life, the very incident will flash to mind. But most writers, though, will need a little time, once again, to shake down their memories. That's what I want you to do. What you are doing, you're shaking down your memories. Probably what will come to you will be recent memories, but give long ago memories time to surface. Be ready for any recollections that well up unexpectedly. Often, when you are busy doing something else, observing the scene around you, talking maybe to someone else, reading about someone else's experience, as you did certainly with the great Chicano writer, Gary Soto. I'm going to call him a Chicano because he likes that term. I like that term. I'm part of that generation. Very proud of that time. It's still that time now. Gary Soto, the great Mexican-American writer, or Annie Dillard, right? When you read her great essay about being a young girl in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and chasing, once again, being chased by that man in the black Buick. Her and her friends playing, right? Class. So maybe when you were reading those, you started thinking about, there's something I can write about. Maybe there is something I can write about from long ago, right? And that's why those things, those triggers that we talked about, family, culture, photo albums, summer trips. We'll talk about those in a minute, may come up, class. When a promising memory that you think you want to write about surfaces, write it down, right? Brainstorming is a good way to jog your memory. When you brainstorm, you try to come up with as many ideas, once again, as fast as you can when you brainstorm, without any thought for their form or their practical application. Without any thought for their form or practical application, class. So you try to get the words down on the page. Just let them flow. You just jot down whatever comes to mind. Very good. So search your memory, class. Let me give you some ideas and give you aspects and specifics of papers I've seen in the past from my students of English 1301. Ask your question this. Ask yourself this question. Write these notes down, class. College is all about, once again, note-taking. Some people never took any notes in high school. I've never seen a student get through my class without taking tons of notes. So when you get into class, your professors are lecturing, pad and paper out, hit it, hit it, hit it, just like I did in college. Every time you come out of a class, you should have a stack of notes. And then your job as a student to go through those notes and say, what was the most important aspect of this professor's lecture? Because these lectures are intense. They're important. My professors were important to me. And I took them extremely seriously, and I learned from them. That's the opportunity you have at the community college class. Ask yourself this question. Excuse me. Question number 1. Did you ever break an important rule or rebel against authority? Did you learn anything from your actions? So did you ever break an important rule or rebel against authority? Let me give you an example. Did you ever ditch school and get caught? What happened? I've read essays on that. Did you ever ditch school and get caught? What happened? Did you ever break curfew and get arrested by the cops? What happened? Hopefully you didn't. Did you ever steal a car? Class, I didn't. Some of my students have. Do I judge them? No. I did other things. We've all done things. Good things, wonderful things, sometimes things that maybe aren't so wonderful. That's part of life. That's part of growing up. Can you write about it, class? Did you ever break an important rule? All right? So think about that. A rule at school, a rule at home, class. Now, question number 2. Did you ever succumb to peer pressure? Did you ever give in or succumb to peer pressure, class? What were the results of going along with the crowd? What did you learn? I've had students write essays before on peer pressure of maybe the first time they had sex, if they've had sex. If you haven't had sex, class, I'm not advocating it. If you have, well, all right then, I guess. But for some people, it's a powerful experience. Did you want to have it? Did you not want to have it? Were you forced into it? Was there pressure? Maybe you weren't ready for it. It's a heavy thing, class. It's a heavy thing. Can you write about that? Once again, were you in love? Were you not in love? Were you in a blackout? Were you drunk? Were you loaded? I don't know. I'm not advocating these things. Students have written essays about that. I've had students ask me, Mr. Welsh, is there anything I can't write about? Like, no. How dark can I get? Whatever you want to do. I've read them all over the years. Once again, one of the reasons we write memoirs too is to heal. So no matter who you are in life, by the time you certainly get my age, or maybe half of my age, we all need to do some healing to what's happened in life to us. Class. Say the first time, and I hope this didn't happen to anybody. Could you write about the first time you smoked marijuana? Okay, I hope none of you ever have. In class, if you never have, you don't have to. For some people, it's kind of a benign experience, not that big of experience. For some people, it can change their whole lives. Okay? Send them down sometimes on the wrong road. At one time, I had a student write about it, and she said her mommy was always telling her mom and dad, Mija, don't smoke marijuana. And Mija would go, why? And they'd say, because your Uncle Johnny, the Tecato, the junkie, who's living in his car, started out on marijuana and then he went to heroin. Or then he started smoking angel dust, dropping acid. So for some people, you know, smoke a joint, put it down, leave it alone. For some people, puts them down a road, once again, that may control their entire lives. Is it a heavy drug? I think it's very heavy. Is it a gateway drug? Some people say no. It was a gateway drug for a lot of people I knew back home in LA. Can you write about it? Class, did you ever succumb to peer pressure? How about something peer pressure with drinking? Hopefully, some of you may drink. It's legal. Once you're 21, some people it's not a big deal. Some people it's a real big deal. Some people it messes up their lives. Can you write about it? How about the first time class you got a speeding ticket? How about the first time class that, once again, you got pregnant? Can you write about that? Was it a big thing? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Some people get pregnant, they don't want to get pregnant. Okay? Sometimes people are in love. A lot of times I've met people, young men sometimes, or women are telling me that, you know, they get pregnant by their boyfriend, then the boyfriend is gone. Class, that's not a good situation. But it happens. And then if you get pregnant, what happens? Beautiful thing, childbirth. There's always those alternatives. Class, a lot of girls I knew back home got pregnant. Young, or kind of young, maybe 20s. Some of them weren't in perfect situations. Most of them I knew didn't have a kid. Okay? So they had an abortion. Or they gave it up for adoption. Is that right or wrong? I don't know. I don't make any judgment. But once again, some women sometimes will figure out maybe it's better not to have this kid when I'm going to bring up a kid who I can't bring up. And now isn't the time. So I'm not bringing a kid into this world. Class, can you write about that? Class, now those are some sort of dark things. Let's talk about first really positive things too, class. How about the first time you had a spiritual experience? If you have, where you felt the power of Jesus Christ, or a spirit, or maybe some nature spirit, or maybe God, or maybe Allah, or maybe you were touched by the Buddha. I don't know. Or you're hiking in the desert, or God came to you in a dream. Can you write about it? Class, if the spirits are a saint, a santos, maybe you had a direct relationship with Saint Cecilia or Saint Lawrence, San Lorenzo, my patron saint, San Patricio, Saint Patrick, my patron saint, Saint Michael, San Juan. Okay. Can you write about it? Or maybe you were touched by the mother of Jesus, the Virgin Mother. Once again, I dig El Paso because a lot of times I'll see tattoos of the Virgin Mother on sometimes some people's homes. I'm like, that's cool. All right. This ain't a religious school. I mean, that's all right. If people can find sustenance in that, fine. Today we had our water heater replaced, and a dude from Socorro had a rosary and a crucifix tattooed on his arm. I was like, that's cool. Are you with me? I don't think he can lose by having a rosary tattooed on his arm. Class. I know about Catholicism. I went to 12 years of Catholic school. I'm Irish American. I've got all Irish blood in my veins. There's nuns and priests in my family, both in this country and in Ireland. That's cool. Once again, if a person can have an experience that's positive, maybe at church, can you write about it? How about class, a positive experience where something great happened in high school? You won the divisional football game. You won homecoming that year when you were at Delphi or Riverside or El Paso High or La Jeff or Pebble Hills or Chapin. Class. Or the Irvin Rockets. Or the Tartan folks over there at what that school is. Can you write about something big and good that happened in high school? Maybe you got an A on an English essay. Maybe a teacher pulled aside and told you, can you capture that day when they told you could write? Maybe you had a great band gig where you were a musician and you made all region, or you hit it with your group, or you're in a rock band. And that night when you took the stage, or an alternative band, and it all came together. Can you write about it? Or maybe you're blowing sax, jazz, or maybe even you're a rapper. And you've been rapping and rapping and rapping and rapping and rapping and rapping and rapping. And someday you feel that moment when your rap became yours. Authentically yours. Class. First, how about the first time someone ever told you they loved you? That's nice. If you feel loved back, someone tell you love you, sometimes you say, well, I don't love you. Or maybe you do love them. I don't know. Or for the first time you were kissed. I remember last year I read an essay from a young woman that was so beautiful and so tender. And she talked about the first time that she was kissed by this guy that she liked. When she was on summer vacation, she spent some time with this dude and he kissed her. Class, it was a beautiful essay, 700 words. She dropped us into that scene. And it reminded me of the tenderness of love and the beauty of love and feeling love for the first time. I wrote that on her essay. And she worked and worked and worked on that essay. So when I went to grade it, spelling, perfect. Grammar, perfect. Sentence structure, perfect. Format, perfect. Not everyone's going to be like this. And I pulled her aside and I said, wow, man, this is an A essay. This is an A essay. It doesn't happen all the time. How many hours, I asked her. This is back when we were meeting in class, the way I normally teach. How many hours did you put in that essay? She said, Mr. West, I worked on that essay for 23 hours to write it. 23 hours for a 700-word essay. What'd you think? I said, I could tell you put in that amount of time. That essay was incredible. You put in 23 hours, so I only had to put in 5 minutes grading it. And then I put a note on her paper to see me. And I told her I think she could have got that thing published. Do I expect everyone to write like that? No. But once again, this college level writing. Once again, college level writing. Grammar, syntax, punctuation, sentence structure. Got to pull it together in order to pass this class. That's why we're going to talk about the Writing Center at the end of the class. Positive things, class. So, class, think about that self. Can you write about that? Another good essay I read was a student, a young man, wrote me about the time that he got accepted to the University of Texas at Austin and Texas A&M and Texas Tech. He wrote about that day when all three of those schools came in together. And then he was at once again a point in his life where he had to make that decision. Class, he ended up coming back to the community college because things didn't work out at the big university. Financially, got in some trouble. But now he's back. He's rebuilding his life once again. That's a beautiful thing about the community college. You get a chance here. And so, once again, I'll teach this class at the level that if I was teaching at Austin, same criteria, same requirements. If I was teaching at UTEP, which I have, same requirements on how I teach this class, no lower. He wrote me a beautiful essay. Class, did you ever have to choose between two equally attractive alternatives? How might your life have been different if you had chosen differently? Think about that. You got two choices. They're both good. You got to take one road. What road did you take? Maybe sometimes it could be in regards to a move, class. Maybe it could be once again on a path in high school. Class, this is a hard one nowadays. It's been a hard one for a lot of years, always a hard one. Have you ever been appalled by witnessing an act of prejudice or insensitivity? What did you do? Do you wish you had done something different? So maybe you're in a situation where someone was prejudiced against you. Maybe because of your color, maybe because of your size, maybe because they didn't like you, maybe because of your nose. Class. Hard to talk about, but it happens. Maybe it happened outside of El Paso. It's one of the reasons why I've loved being in El Paso for so many years. I've been here 26 years now, longer than most of you have been alive. El Paso doesn't have some of the intense issues that some of the other places like might have. I'm not saying it's better or worse, but you run into some pretty heavy situations in Detroit or Chicago or Los Angeles, where I come from, um, that we don't have here. But still, can you write about it? Okay. Discrimination, reverse discrimination, right? When I was a kid, believe it or not, I was young. I was the only quote unquote white boy in the neighborhood, and I was hated for my color. And I was jumped and I was stabbed, and it scarred me for life. But then once again, I had to heal. It was always white boy, white boy, white boy, white boy, white boy, we're going to kill you. And I was like, wow, for what? Being white? Okay. So that's what I think they call reverse discrimination. But there's discrimination in all sorts of forms. Class, can you write about it? Did you ever, once again, have a long held belief or assumption shattered? Can you chase the change of one event or a series of events? So maybe you had some ideal and then someone broke it. Can you write about that when your ideal was shattered? Could be a relative. Class, was there ever a moment in your life when you decided to reform or adopt a whole new outlook on life? How would you characterize your attempt? Successful, unsuccessful, laughable, painful? I've had a couple. I've had a lot of great students over the years. I had a student a few years ago, a young woman, who wrote about the night she woke up in the hospital and she had overdosed on ecstasy, and she came to, and it was this moment of revelation where she dropped us in the hospital. She'd been doing E. Some people call it Molly. She'd been going to raves, all night parties, doing a lot of ecstasy. And she wrote about the time she decided that ecstasy was over. and she was going to revolutionize her life. And she came to my English 1301 class, and she was intense. She knew how powerful it was to be at the community college and how it could change your life. Powerful essay, dropped us in the hospital. Class. Maybe there was a time where you found yourself, you're overweight, out of shape, and you wanted to start eating better, you want to start exercising, you want to start training, you wanted to lose weight. Can you write about it? You wanted to reform. Maybe, class, you've been smoking cigarettes and you want to give them up. How hard is it? For some people, it's very hard, especially you've been smoking a long time. I've had students write essays about trying to give up marijuana because they know it's messing up their lives. It is a powerful drug, no matter what people say. Powerful. Some people's heads don't work right. They can't write. They're all fogged up. Too much marijuana. They've written me essays on how they're trying to get off. Some people I know can never get off of it. Some people don't need to. Some people do. I'm not no one's mother or father. Okay. How about, class, if you find out or think you need to quit drinking, you think you may be an alcoholic, it's destroying your health, destroying your life. You realize you can't drink. I know a lot of people who can't drink, class. Some can, some can't. I'm Irish. Generation after generation after generation of Irish men and women. Okay, my mom was right from Ireland. None of us can control what bloodlines we have in our system or who we come from. For years, that caused me pain. But also, what I found out over the years is I could find love in the literature and the love in the history and love of my people. I got no choice. I'm 100% Irish blood in my veins, going back hundreds of years. And I love my people, but I know my people have had some challenges. One of the challenges for some of my people is alcohol, class. That's why I don't drink. That's just my trip. It's no big deal. Been a long time. I could never do it successfully. Can you write about that? Has it been a problem for you? Maybe it hasn't. I hope it never is. Most of you it won't be. Class, or maybe you decided you wanted to reform. You woke up in jail. Or you woke up in the back of a squad car with the cops and you realize, you know what? It ain't the cops' fault. It's my fault. You know, it's my fault. I got to change my life. So, class, you know, maybe time you decide to reform, maybe you could decide, you know, I'm going to give my life to Christ, or I'm going to give my life to a spiritual path, maybe shamanism, maybe Buddhism, maybe Celtic spirituality, maybe walking the good red road of Native American spirituality, maybe Buddhism, maybe Hinduism, maybe a combination, Christianity, maybe a combination of all of them all. So class, I've just given you a ton of possibilities once again. And so what I want you to do now is spend some time free writing, and this afternoon pick exactly what you want to do. Okay? And then start writing your essay, your one event, one time. I'm going to help you right now with that. Talk about how you're going to approach it. Once you decide the time, the date, the situation you want to write about, then you can start drafting it. Now, let me find this handout here. So if we go to that final handout that I posted yesterday, once again, about drafting and invention, it's the one that goes from 173 to 184. And it talks about the different ways of approaching class. Let me talk about this. So, a working draft. Once you decide, you're going to start writing this thing 700 to 1,000 words, class, a working draft. Page 178. Let's go down here. Bottom of the page so you can see that. Oh, asterisks on it. Work and draft class. Review the writing you've done so far once you've done this. After you've done some sketching about what you want to do. So, how did we begin it? How do we end it? Bottom of the page. Notice how the writers frame their memoirs to highlight the revelations that make these writings meaningful. For example, page 179, top of the page, in his opening paragraph, Gary Soto introduces the idea that there are two kinds of work. And then, after telling about his experience at the tire factory, he returns in the last 6 paragraphs to explore what he found out about that work. Annie Dillard uses the strategy to frame her memoir. So Gary Soto comes out, tells us, hey, there's this 2 types of work. And I learned about the work that uses muscle when I was a 17-year-old runaway in Glendale, California. Glendale, near downtown LA. And then boom, he lets the action go from there. In the end, he comes back and puts the frame on it and tells us what he learned. Annie Dillard also uses this strategy to frame her essay. In the opening passages, she anticipates the larger significance of the event she is about to recreate. Quote unquote, she tells us, I got in trouble throwing snowballs and have seldom been happier since. Then she tells the story of the man who chased her and of her immense discovery. Okay. At the end of the memoir, Dillard extends the meaning of the opening lines. Quote unquote, if in that snowy backyard the driver of the black Buick had cut off our heads, Mikey's and mine, I would have died happy, for nothing has required so much of me since as being chased all over Pittsburgh in the middle of winter, running, terrified, exhausted. She wraps it up. So let's talk about, class, what's going to be in your memoir. All of your memoirs will have this, 179. Memoirists often use techniques you can find in fiction. Scene setting. Going to drop us into a scene. Description of people. You're going to put people in your memoir. Action and dialogue. These techniques enable memoirists like fiction writers to recreate the past in vivid and convincing detail. Designing a memoir like fiction writing involves decisions that about the type and amount of detail that you need to make your recreation of the past memorable. Class. And it tells us. Bottom of the page 179, highlighted scene setting. Use vivid and specific description to set the scene. So you're going to drop us into a scene. I would keep it in a tight frame of time. Name particular objects. Give details about places and things. Use description and detail to establish mood. Bullet point number 2, description of the people. Use description of people's appearances to highlight their personalities in your memoir. Describe the clothes that they're wearing. Give details about a person's physical presence, gestures, facial features. Use description and detail to establish character. How much you're going to do, that's up to you. That's the beauty of writing. You use description and detail like a painter uses a paintbrush. Maybe a sentence here to bring the person alive. Maybe a sentence there. 700 to 1,000 words. Your essays will be no longer than 1,000 words. I will not grade an essay that's longer than 1,000 words. Has to be 700 to make it work. Dialogue. Bullet point. Put words in your character's mouth that reveal their personalities. Invent dialogue that is faithful to people's ways of speaking. Even if you don't use their exact words, use dialogue to establish relationships between characters. So in your memoir, you can have people talking. Use it effectively. Dialogue. Maybe someone screaming, get the hell out of here. Or I'm coming after you. Whoever it is. Dialogue. Action. Put the characters in your memoir in motion. narrative to tell about something that happened, and use narrative to develop characters and reveal, once again, the theme of your memoir. Class, we're getting there. Now, very good. So, for the days ahead, good. Class, let me show you what an essay is going to look like. And I can post this. We got time. When you go to turn in your essay. Now, one of the things I'm talking about, class, once again, remember for several of the classes, look on your course policies and deadline. Your deadline is, thank God, you've got time, next Friday, the 18th. For 2 of the classes, look on your course policies and calendar. Your deadline is, once again, the 22nd, the Tuesday after that. So you still have plenty of time. However, before you turn in your essay, there's several things I want you to do, and I'm going to post these things, and I'll have another lecture. You need to go to the Writing Center, and I'll post a flyer about that. That's where you're going to workshop your essay. Normally, I have students go after the first essay, but since we're in this online situation, I want you to work with the Writing Center on your memoir. Just have them have a look over. And that is going to be how you're going to peer review your essay. And you do it virtually with the Writing Center. You send it to them. They'll send it back, offer some suggestions, use what you need. And then when you turn in your essay, you're going to also turn in the paper, let me know you went to the Writing Center for your essay. Class. And I will post over the weekend the flyer from the Writing Center and all the directions. Okay. Class, let's show you what your final, and I'll make a handout of this too. And it'll be under my handouts for the Writing Center. Class, on our course policy and calendar, it talks about what an essay is going to look like. Class, your essay is going to look exactly like this. It'll look like nothing else. See how clean this looks? Okay. Let's go over this. Left-hand corner, single space. Left-hand corner, single space, your name. Single space down, English 1301. Single space down, the section number of the class. Single space down, fall 2020. Single space down, Welsh. Single spaced. Times Roman, New Times Roman, Courier, or New Courier type. Only take 2 typefaces. 12-point type. 1-inch margins all the way around. Come down. Center your title. Underline your title. Indent. Boom. Start your essay. Each time that you start a new paragraph, you indent. Double spacing. No extra spaces between, once again, the paragraphs. You have to go to a second page, upper right-hand corner. Your last name, page 2. Have to go to another page, your last name, page 3, all the way down to the end of the essay. This is the way all college level essays look. There's no deviation. This is a Modern Language Association way to turn in a college essay. Of course, yours are going to be virtual, but they're going to look just like this. This is how essays looked when I was in college. This is how essays look now. Okay, 700 to 1,000 words, class. And I will post this so you can use this as an example. All right. So, class, I think that's about it. Once again, start drafting, start writing. You're going to have your drafts. You're going to need to get the drafts, and you'll be turning your drafts into the Writing Center. Writing Center will get it back to you. Still have 8 days. Look at your timing before you turn these in. Once again. Now, So there we are. And by next week, we're going to have a situation class. We should. I'm getting the situation, was trying to learn it, get it together where we'll have some times where we can have office hours. I'll post them ahead of time and we can have live chats where I'll come on. You can ask me questions. We can talk back and forth. It's going to be over Microsoft Teams. We're just perfecting that now. So class, once again, we have plenty of time. Sections 12175 and 11816, according to the syllabus, your portfolio is due, your essay is due September 22nd. Sections number 11850, 12176, those two different sections, Thursday, once again, or that'll be, the date is September 18th. So September 22nd, September 18th, look at your course policies and calendar. It's down there once again, and it talks about it right here. September 22nd, complete the finished draft of your essay. And then it talks about, and I'll talk about what needs to be turned in. That's 12175 and 11816. And where do we have the date here? Friday, 9/18. Complete the reviews once again, and complete once again the finished draft of your essay. Hand it in that day on the 18th. All right. So, and that's for 11850 and 12176 on your course policies and calendar. Now, with that said, class, once again, good luck. Have a good weekend. Have fun with these. Get them as tight as you can. Get them to the Writing Center when you can. I'll be posting about that, giving you the flyer for the Writing Center, the virtual Writing Center. And then we'll be looking for those deadlines. And once again, class, be thinking about something powerful that you can write about. These are really important essays. Class, I'm wishing you, let's see, today's Thursday, wishing you a great weekend. Good luck with these. And we will see you during the next lecture. I'll get those. Once again, you have all the handouts that are required for you to do this. I've illuminated all the handouts. You're ready to go. You're ready to write. Class, good luck with these. And then once again, I will post the handout on the Writing Center, and I will post once again this example of the correct formatting for your essay, the final drafts. Class, with that said, have a great weekend and good luck, and have some fun with these. Get them as clean as you can, as tight as you can, as you continue to draft. First, just draft and get it down. But remember, class, when I go to grade these, I'm an English professor. I'll hit everything. Grammar, sentence structure, run-on sentences, class. Get them as tight as you can. Pay attention to language. And then, class, once again, if you send me emails, make sure that when you send me an email, you spend a lot of time drafting each sentence so it's grammatically correct. All right? Periods, commas, not run-on sentences. You're not sending me a text on your phone. You're sending me a professional email, which is like a letter. All right? All right, class. Very good. Have a great weekend. Good luck with these, and stay safe and stay well. Bye-bye.